Hello everyone, welcome to SRIRAM's IS. In continuation of the prelims through PYQs, specifically in the science section, this is the third session that we are having for the science. In the first session, we had some basic biology section coming up in the previous year civil services examination, and the second session was about the biotechnology. Today's third session will be dwelling deep into the questions that was asked from the health and human diseases. Now the question that is asked is again very easy, basic in nature. If you are through the basic standard books or you have been through the current affairs, you will be easily able to correct this answer, right? So we'll check the questions what was asked starting from 2023 onwards. As I've told you, the section is health and human diseases, right? Now moving ahead, what is the first question? The first question is from 2023 because in 2024 there was not ample question coming out, right? So specifically for 2023, what was being asked was about the Wolbachia method, right? Sometimes seen in the news with reference to which of the following, you need to consider the statement regarding this particular method. Now, this was there in the newspaper, right? Why it was there? Because there are a lot of vector-borne diseases coming out like chikungunya, there is malaria, all sort of things was very prevalent not only in India but from the other region of the part of the world. So this methodology was actually required to ensure to curb the part of spread of the dengue, right? The statement that was given is first is to have a control in the viral disease spread by the mosquito, right? The second is converting the crop residues into the package material. Now, if you are aware of this methodology, it is something you can easily able to eliminate. This is something nothing has to do with the packaging. Now, when you see the questions are framed, they are framed in a way to disguise you in certain manner that you do not come up too easily or not able to make through the answer, right? The third is the productions of biodegradable plastic. Now, this is the third one. The last is productions of biochar from the thermochemical conversion biomass. Now, what exactly was Wolbachia method? I'll give you a diagram, right? In science, we have a lot of other diagrams coming your way. So, the things become more easy for you to understand and comprehend. So, Wolbachia is basically a bacteria. What is this? This is a bacteria, right? This is a bacteria which is being injected into a dengue, right? The Aedes aegypti, the mosquito which is there, it is injected in that particular egg. And what it does that it particularly spread the part of the virus and the part of the overall production which is going has to be reduced down. Now this egg hatching process the cytoplasm become incapable to reproduce further and the multiplication of this organism, the part of this bacteria get reduced. So that is the reason the part of Wolbachia method was actually there for controlling the viral disease spread through the mosquito. I think things become very clear for you. When the question is asked regarding this type of methodology or anything emerging in the news, it becomes critical for you to understand it, right? Now, we're moving ahead with other questions. This question was asked in 2021. Now, you'll find a lot of variations coming. Every year, the question specifically from the human disease or from the health is not being repeated. But whenever it is being asked, the question are very generic and easy. Given the fact, you have to know some of the basic and background about it. The second question is in the context of hereditary diseases, consider the following statement. What does this term heredity mean? Heredity means that this is getting transferred from your parents, right? Now, the first statement that is passing the mitochondrial disease from the parent child can be prevented by the mitochondrial replacement therapy. What is mitochondrial replacement therapy? This is MRT. Now, MRT has been in news where some part of the tweak can be possible in the mitochondria of the parents, right, before it gets transferred to the offspring. So the statement is, I'll complete the statement, passing on the mitochondrial disease from the parent to the child can be prevented by the mitochondrial replacement therapy either or before the vitro fertilization of the egg. This is absolutely correct because there are certain parts that we can control. I'll show you a diagram that will make things more clear and crystal for you. Now the second is a child inherited mitochondrial disease entirely from mother and not from the father. I'll just come to this statement. Now, before I come to the answer, I would just like to show you some of the diagram which become easy for you to understand. Now see, this is a parent embryo, right? These are the unhealthy mitochondria and these are the parent nuclei, and this is the donor embryo, right? Now what happened, the best part is only taken into consideration and the other part of the nucleus is being removed. Now this is the first statement, the explanation was there. So this is absolutely correct that with respect to the mitochondrial replacement therapy, the part of the diseases that is being sent from parent or transferred from parent to the offspring can be prevented. The second is a child inherit mitochondrial disease entirely from the mother and not from the father. See, as you know, the father part, for the female we have XX chromosome and for the male we have XY chromosome, right? And the mitochondria in the sperm get actually destroyed, right? Once the fertilization process take place, in the sperm, whatever mitochondria are there, it really get destroyed. So it is not ideally the parent, the father contribution, it is solely the mother who is making a contribution, right? So this particular statement is true. So both option, that is C, both 1 and 2 are the correct option. Now moving ahead with the other question, this was for year 2017, right? Now you can find the variation. Why? Because we are specifically looking into the questions from the health and human disease, the part of disease which is there. Consider the following statement. What is the first statement? In tropical region, Zika virus disease is transmitted by same mosquito that are transmitted in dengue. Let's consider this statement. The second is sexually transmitted of Zika virus is possible. Now see, look at the part in tropical region. Why in tropical region the part of mosquito or Aedes aegypti mosquito is mushrooming? Because this particular region has a temperature which is favorable for the productions. So definitely this particular statement is correct. And sexual transmission of Zika virus disease is possible. See, it is not possible, right? It is something which has to be done with the part of a mosquito. It acts as a vector which will ultimately lead to the transmission. So in this, the correct option is only A. Now moving ahead with the other question, that is H1N1 virus, most frequent in the news. If any one of you have been coming across the current affair, must be familiar with this word. H1N1 virus sometimes mentioned in the news with reference to which of the following diseases, right? Now this is something again important, you know this is the bird flu, right? Now you see in this particular part, I just wanted to show how this particular virus is all H1N1 virus look like. If there is any question is being advanced in the 2025 or 2026, something that you need to note that it has ion channel, right? Apart from ion channel, it has RNP, it has capsid, it has nucleosmide, that is halides, and it has lipid envelope, and it has hemagglutinin, which is again one of the spike which is helping them in the further strengthening the part of this virus capabilities. Now moving to the other question, this was in 2014. We started from 2023 and we are at 2014. Consider the following statement with regards to vitamin deficiency. Now this is something was very common in that particular year where UPSC was frequently asking questions with regards to human diseases, the part of deficiency coming from a specific disease. So there are 3 vitamins which is mentioned. The first is vitamin C. It is mentioned scurvy. It is very easy. I think if you have read, you must be easily able to understand that this is the correct one. The second is vitamin D, rickets. Definitely vitamin D helps in the strengthening of bone. If you do not have a sufficient amount of vitamin D in your body, you may ultimately lead to the part of rickets. Now we have vitamin E, which is related to the night blindness. Now definitely this is not the correct one, because night blindness is something to do with vitamin A and not with vitamin E. Vitamin E has its contribution in human immunity, right? When it comes to immunity, it makes a substantial contribution there. Apart from it, certain part of strengthening of the human body, the healing part of that, even for your growth of skin, collagen boosters, hair, this is where vitamin E take into consideration, and vitamin E is also known as beauty vitamin, right? Now, as you know that the statement 3 is incorrect, so this elimination part work here. The correct option here is A, both 1 and 2. Now, other than that, there might be some likely possibilities that the questions can come with regards to other vitamin also. So, for vitamin A, which is commonly known as retinol. Now, other thing that I wanted you to read and learn in this particular part, in the vitamin part, that you just go through the scientific name which is mentioned. You can either take the screenshot for your revision purposes, which will help you. It is not necessarily that they will always ask you about the diseases part or something which is associated. They might ask you about the scientific name. So I'll be going through this vitamin all. So vitamin A, that is retinol, which leads to night blindness. We have vitamin B1, which is also known as thiamine, which ultimately leads to beriberi. If you have a deficiency of this particular vitamin, you can be a patient of beriberi. Then vitamin B2, which is also known as riboflavin. If you have this particular deficiency, you may be landing up in the dermatitis. Then we have vitamin B3, which is also known as niacin. And if you have deficiency of this particular vitamin, there can be diarrhea. Now, the other vitamin in the B complex group, some of the important one is B5, which is also known as pentoic acid. If you have deficiency of this, you can be a patient of insomnia. Then we have vitamin B6, which is known as pyridoxine. And if this particular vitamin is not there, it can lead to anemia. There are a lot of other things, hemoglobin and iron you must be coming across, but there's something very specific you need to know, right? Now, then vitamin B7, which is also known as biotin, it can lead to paralysis and it can lead to hair falling. Now, I just wanted to add for all the aspirants who are preparing, there has been a consensus that hair fall has become a significant problem in the recent time. So, ensure that you are taking a good amount of vitamin B7, have good amount of buttermilk, yogurt and other part in your diet, dairy products, so that it can help you in strengthening your hair also. Then we have vitamin B11, which is also known as folic acid, very important for women and female. It helps if you have deficiency, it can lead to anemia. Now, once you do not have vitamin B11, the absorption of iron in human body drastically get reduced. So, you must come across the vitamin especially for the women who are pregnant. They get the part of doctors prescribe them iron plus folic acid. So there's always a combination of iron plus folic acid, right? Why? Because folic acid helps in the absorption of iron. Now, coming to other vitamins, which is vitamin B12, which is also known as cobalamin. If you have a deficiency, it can lead to anemia. This is pernicious anemia. Vitamin B3 is known as ascorbic acid. If you have a deficiency, it can lead to scurvy. Vitamin D, which is known as calciferol, it can lead to rickets. We have vitamin E, which is also known as beauty vitamin or tocopherol. It can lead to anemia and fertility. And last but not least is the vitamin K, which is also known as phyloquinine, and it can lead to hemorrhage, right? So these all are the important part. If you want, just take this screenshot for your reference purposes and better revision. Now, moving ahead with the other question, this is from 2014. Consider the following diseases: diphtheria, chickenpox and smallpox. Now, if you look at the question which is being asked, they are asking which of the following above diseases have been eradicated in India. Eradication is a specific term where the cases must not be reported in the country, right? So, if you look at the part of figures which is coming from diphtheria, still till 2024 and 25, we have huge number of cases coming from diphtheria. The same goes for chickenpox. It is something not yet been eliminated in the country. We have certain cases coming out. There's nothing precise number that I can quote here. But when it comes to smallpox, India has eradicated smallpox, right? So the correct answer here is only option 3, right? So be rest assured, if this thing is asked and you're not absolutely sure, just have a generic idea and basic understanding that this disease can be occurring in India in any part or interior of the country, then certainly this cannot be eradicated, right? Chickenpox and diphtheria is more of something endemic to India, right? So absolutely the correct option here is 3, that is option B. Now, the other question, this is from 2013. We started from 2023 and we are at 2030. Which of the following disease can be transmitted from one person to another through tattooing? right? Now, just understand what UPSC has asked in the civil services examination about the tattooing. Now, tattooing has been hidden by a specific term which can be, this is a curtain. Now, the detail part they wanted to ask you, transmission through blood. This is what UPSC wanted to ask you. But they have used the word tattoo, right? Now, they are asking which particular disease can be transmitted. Now, the basic we have been discussing with the other question. Chikungunya is a disease which can be only transmitted through Aedes aegypti mosquito. This is a mosquito or vector-borne diseases. This has nothing to do with the blood part. It is not a blood-borne disease. One. Now, this is definitely eliminated. We have hepatitis B and HIV/AIDS. Yes, hepatitis B is a blood-borne disease which can be transmitted from one person to other. The same goes for HIV, that is human immunovirus. I have categorically talked about AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, where your immunity, specifically the T4 cells, get reduced in the human body, leading to the compromised immunity in the human body, right? So these two are absolutely correct. First is not the correct option. If you use the elimination method also, you land up to the correct option, that is B, right? It was again a cakewalk for this particular year. Now, we wrap up the session with the particular questions. Most likely, the sections that was asked in the civil services examination, categorically talking about the biology section, where we have dealt about the plant diversity, the animal diversity and basic questions. The second session was about biotechnology, and this is the third session that is about the human diseases and health. Most likely, this would be the last session of our discussion in the PYQs. If any questions is left out in the biology or the biotechnology section, we'll ensure that everything is completed in a short to ensure that you are preparing well for the upcoming prelims examination, which is scheduled at 25th of May 2025. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much for watching.